Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura Kate Magnet Dale.
And I'm not Jane Aerith Magnet Dale. And welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers. It's that podcast where we, them wifey types,
The gays,
we talk about what we've been up to in the week, which is usually media of various types.
Some sort of media.
Some sort of media stuff.
Talking out of our medias.
Exactly. How you doing?
Better. Hearing's working.
Hooray!
Coughing less.
You are less ill than you were.
Yeah, still injured, but
that's progress.
less ill.
We'll take the progress.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm pretty good.
You are pretty good.
We're back from the holiday break. I've hit the ground running. I'm energized to make stuff and do things.
I mean, we must be back from the holidays. I've already edited 2 AOs. So.
Yeah, it's cold and grey, which is less than ideal, but I'm gonna create through it. It's fine.
I'm gonna get old through it.
It'll be spring and summer before we know it.
Oh, I'd love some spring and summer. We've got like 2 months.
I want sunshine and not cold and wet, please.
I mean, spring's not going to be that warm.
Yeah, but it's not going to be this cold, or this dark, or this wet, or this icy. It'll be slightly less of all those things.
But you did get to see one a snow.
I did get to see one a snow, yes.
You got to frolic in one a snow.
I did go for a little walk in the snow.
A bijou froliquette.
Exactly. What have you been playing this past week?
Oh, playing? Gosh, not a lot, I'll be honest.
It's been a relatively quiet week for new stuff this week,
It
I think,
has,
for both of us.
mainly because I've been working on a big RPG.
Yeah.
I've been playing some Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Yeah, which you've tried little bits of Yakuza before, but this is, I think, the furthest you've stuck with a Yakuza.
Yeah, I think the only other one I played was Kiwami Zero.
So Kiwami or Yakuza 0, two slightly different ones, but they're both early games in the series. Was it about a vacant lot, or was...
Aren't they all about a vacant lot?
Well, no, it's either the vacant lot, or was Yakuza trying to look... was Kiryu trying to look after a little girl?
There was a meeting with some families at a fancy, traditional Japanese-looking building, and I think someone got murdered. And then there was a gunfight.
Okay. Honestly, that could be either of the Yakuzas. They both start very similarly.
It was definitely Kiryu. I'm pretty sure it was Kiryu.
Did Kiryu go to prison?
I don't remember.
An early Yakuza.
A Yakuza, yeah.
Yeah.
Simply Yakuza. Anyway, I've been playing Pirate League Yakuza in Hawaii.
Yeah, this is the most recent Yakuza.
Is it? I thought man who sold his name was
No. This was February last year. So yeah, this is the most up-to-date Yakuza you could be playing. You jump from one of the earliest to one of the most recent, which I think is very reasonable, because I think this is a very jump-intoable Yakuza.
I saw you playing it. It looked fun. I was like, I'll have me some of that.
Yeah.
And now I'm having some of that.
How are you getting on with it?
I'm in chapter 3 of 4.5, I believe.
Yeah, you're deep enough in that you're getting a sense of the plot.
Yeah, ish. I am... Yeah, Kiwami Legacy.
Kiwami, cool, yep. The one that I am currently streaming.
Ah.
But yes, you're playing as Majima being a pirate at the moment.
I'm playing as Majima being a pirate. I've just got a cool blonde wig.
Yes,
and I think it looks brilliant.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Yeah, enjoying it so far. It's a fun romp. A fun experience.
Doesn't require too much series knowledge.
None at all. I mean, it helps that I have watched you played other Yakuzas, so... Like, I recognise when people are talking about Ichiban.
Yeah. You know that anytime someone says, another Japanese man was here in Hawaii and helped me with a problem, you're like, that's probably that one.
Well, I didn't know that was necessarily Ichiban. I didn't know it was only Ichiban that had been to Hawaii.
Oh, no, Kiryu was there too.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But also, like, I recognise his red shirt.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And there was the guys in yellow with the hoods, the cult.
Oh, the Pelicano, yeah.
Yes, I recognise them from when you were playing the other one.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a fun romp. It has hit a weird, like, levelling thing. Because I feel like I've gone as far as I can go with a lot of things. And I don't really understand exactly what it wants from me.
A thing I found with this game in particular is, if you're like me, and you want to do all of the side content as soon as it comes up before progressing, you hit kind of a difficulty wall, where eventually the game really feels like it's trying to point at you and go, just continue the plot for a bit. If you continue the plot for a bit, we'll give you some stuff that'll catch you up to the curve.
I mean, the thing was, I'd kind of forgotten what the plot was supposed to be, so... Yeah. I'd spent so long doing bounty missions and trying to find the Dragon Balls or whatever the fuck that mission's about, and taking pictures of various, mostly restaurants, around Honolulu. All of those things. Drinking milk with a small child.
You'd long since lost track of. There's an island. There was some toxic waste stored there.
Yeah,
or something.
I knew about that. I feel like I'm supposed to be going back there at some point, but it hasn't, pointed me in any specific direction. So I've been like, okay, well, I guess I'll just do, a bunch of bounty stuff, and I'll try and do some of the, because it had also been talked about, in that same scene about going, back to, Nale Island, that there was some expectation of performing well in the pirate challenges.
Yes.
But initially I didn't feel like I was ready for the pirate challenges, so I went off and got more crew, and because initially I didn't have enough to fill the second screen in the crew roster, so I was like, I clearly need to go back to Honolulu and get a bunch of more crew, which I've done. I've now got more than fits on the entire ship. But I have problems of going... as you say, there is definitely something I'm not getting with some of the fights, because I did the Fire Island, the second second pirate captain on that mission, and then the third one just felt way too hard, and I've had a couple of the general just sailing around the sea missions that have been way too hard for my crew. So it's what am I missing that I could be doing better? Because I feel like what I really need is a ship that's even bigger than the first upgrade that lets me have 100 people on the thing with me.
Well, part of it is you reach a point where you actually have to start looking a bit at which crew you put into slots, because some of them, I think, have abilities when put into specific slots, and that helps a bit. But part of it is there are some ship upgrades that you will have to progress the story for. But yeah,
I've just got super lasers.
The super lasers are very fun.
I had lasers before, now I have super lasers. Ooh. I've also got the coconut machine guns.
The coconut
which is supposed to be pretty good.
It fires in spurts. If it shoots you, it's going to hurt.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I would imagine it would, yeah. Getting hit in the head with a fucking coconut. I'm enjoying it enough that when we get to something later that is also set in Hawaii, I will talk about how I wished I had that 2 hours back, because I could have been playing this.
Spoilers
for later, I guess.
It's fun, it's silly, it doesn't require too much of any knowledge of past Yakuzas, because the way I put it when I was trying to explain... When I was playing this game originally and I was trying to sell people on it, I was like, don't worry if you've never played a past Yakuza game. Not only does our main character not remember he was in any of the past Yakuza games, he actively doesn't want to remember that he was in any past Yakuza games. He's allergic to the idea of remembering he ever was in a Yakuza before this.
No, and the point where he meets a bunch of people who know who he is and are trying to talk about stuff, he kind of just wanders off, forgetting to say goodbye to them.
The first time he bumps into, hello, it is me, your dear old friend who's gone on many adventures in past Yakuzas with you. Please let me take you home to get medical care. You have had serious brain injuries. And Majima's like, yeah, but I'm not done being a pirate, though, and he just runs off.
Is that guy actually his friend?
Yes! This is a major character from multiple Yakuza games.
Because I got the impression from the plot of this one that person was just trying to get me out of the way.
Are we talking the big bold guy?
I can't remember who it was now. Yeah. It was a while ago.
Yeah, he... maybe one Yakuza game ago, Majima and him were living in a shack together.
Nice.
In a shack with a single bed. in a tiny remote fishing village.
Were they playing Master System ROMs? Weird fucking choice for an actual Sega product.
On original hardware.
Yeah, how are we playing ROMs on an original hardware? Can we play the cards? Can we play Master System cards? Have you ever seen a Master System card?
Yes.
Yeah. Fuck cartridges. I want Super Hang-On on a card.
But yeah, it's a fun, silly one. It's definitely a little sillier than Kiwami, which is where you first tried to get in.
Yeah, that wasn't really doing it for me, and I tried my best, and it just wasn't happening.
Much like the Saints Row games, they started quite far on the serious with a little silly, and they found that balance as they've gone on.
I thought Kiwami was a remake of one of the early ones.
It's a remake of one, but
right.
It doesn't fundamentally change that sort of where the silliness shift is. My experience with this series is I started with Like a Dragon, the first RPG one, played through those, and then went, fine, okay, I'll stick with the slightly serious and dry nature of the early Kiryu ones, because I know who Kiryu is now and I want to get to know him better. And I think Zero, which is a prequel to Kiwami, does a better job of being an intro point to Kiryu as a character that gets that silliness in a little quicker. So by the time you get to Kiwami, it's like, okay, I'm invested in Kiryu now. I'll go on his serious crime drama for a minute. It's still silly. It's just you got to get a little further in to get the silly.
Is there at least fun dress up?
There is at least fun dress up.
Okay.
But yeah, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Yakuza, it was on sale for a considerable discount. Woo.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I am. I'm about 35 hours in at this point.
It's one of the shorter ones, but it's still 30.
It's still an RPG.
Yeah, you're still looking at 40 to 50 hours, I think, to play through it, which is not bad.
What about you? What have you been thumbing away with?
I'll start with the video game I've been playing. I finally made time to start playing Octopath Traveler 0. The Octopath
UDP.
Yeah, so the Octopath Traveler games are RPGs that are sort of they started a visual style that Square Enix has been calling HD 2D, which is pixel art RPGs, but with like modern lighting techniques going on and modern post-processing visual effects.
And the backgrounds, while also kind of pixely, are lit and 3D environments.
Yeah, so it's fancy-looking sprite work RPGs, but also with like full voice acting and stuff.
Yeah.
I never got on that great with the original Octopath Traveler, because the reason it's called Octopath Traveler, the first one, is because it's basically 8 different RPGs that eventually converge and become one. But you have to play 8 different RPGs and you're like jumping around juggling 8 very different stories that eventually converge. Just didn't click for me. It was a lot going on. The series, like, it's one of those like Final Fantasy where different numbered entries are very different games. I'd heard a lot of really positive things about Octopath Traveler 0, so I decided to give it a go. This one, you play as one specific create your own character, and you are collecting party members as you go to eventually have up to 8 people in your party at once, and be doing like turn-based battles, but you have 8 people at the same time stood on your side of the field. And there is a whole bunch of mechanics. What was I playing that had something similar to this? The mechanic going on is you can teach basically any move that any of your characters learn to any other character. Claire Obscure did this last year. You can basically take any ability and put it on any character, so you can really get in the weeds of like, oh, I want this character to be a healer, but with like a little bit of stabbing and a little bit of magic, and like
the character health.
Yeah, the character class that a character has doesn't restrict you from giving them other things that might synergize and make like a weird, funky combo class. And that's pretty cool. I am pretty invested in the initial story. The opening few hours sure did set up a very hateable antagonist. The voice acting for the villains has been very Saturday morning cartoon, over the top, flamboyant, kind of exaggerated villainy, which I'm very into. I'm having a lot of fun with it. it's an RPG, and I'm not nearly far enough in to have huge opinions on it, other than I'm enjoying the customization of the character classes. I reached a bit where it seems like I'm going to be doing some town building elements, and I'm curious to start messing around with that probably this evening. I'm enjoying my first little dips of my toe in this.
Yeah.
What about you? What else have you been playing?
That's it for me. I have not yet had an octopus.
Well, we played a thing together. We sat down and tackled playing an actual game of Frostpunk, the board game.
We did.
We didn't get stopped at the trying to learn the first round phase this time.
It helped that I didn't have a head full of slime and an ear that wouldn't work properly, and... I'm sorry, 2 ears that wouldn't work properly, and...
We both were less ill, and also had done some of the legwork already, and also now had inserts to make it a bit quicker to set up.
Yes.
It was still a slightly intimidating initial, like, oh, we have, like, we gotta handle 2 characters worth of double-sided A4 sheets and all of these little mini-boards. Once we actually got playing, it was not nearly as overwhelming as it seemed.
Also, once we gave up on using the player aids, I think that helped a lot.
They weirdly made it harder.
I think it makes sense if you have a full set of 4 people and each person has their own little responsibilities during each round.
Yeah.
When you have 2, trying to look back and forth between the 2 things that you've got to try and work out what your responsibilities are at any section is way less efficient than going to the manual and going, these are the steps for this thing. Because the other thing is, it doesn't tell you what order those things should be done in.
Yeah.
On the split up sheet, and maybe it doesn't actually matter.
It tells you what order you should be doing your bits, but it doesn't tell you whether your bits slot in before or after someone else's bits.
Yeah, and some of that's fairly obvious because some of it's like, you will tell this person this thing, and that person will adjust some things.
Yeah.
And I think initially as well, we talked about the fact that we'd set it up on the table as it would fit on our table.
Yes.
And we've got a sizable table when it's unfolded, but we still had problems of, I don't really understand what I'm supposed to be doing here. I don't really know exactly how it works, and things that just... That thing isn't close to me. It's my responsibility, but it isn't close enough for me to reach over and do the thing. And what we ended up doing was just going, I'm just going to read the manual for each section until we get to a point where we know each section well enough to do the thing. And the only thing we did need eventually was just the hint card of the rounds that you were operating with here is a marker that tells me which section we're in. We're going to do this thing.
I've got the little card that I go, did we do the 3 bullet points? And you've got the book to go, let's just double check what that bullet point entails.
Yeah.
And between
until the point we got to, okay, we understand it well enough that we don't need the manual anymore. It's just like, okay, we're doing those 3 things? Cool, we will do those 3 things.
Pacing-wise, as a co-op game, it reminded me of, like, the pace curve of something like a Pandemic. And what I mean by that is, there is the overwhelming start where it feels like you are scrambling just to barely keep afloat with all of the problems happening. A bit where you can almost get a little complacent of, like, oh, suddenly everything's kind of in control, and things might go bad, but, like, I'll be able to get it back under control. And then suddenly it's all or nothing, success or failure is going to be right down to the wire right at this last second.
Yeah.
It's got that similar pace.
A couple of rules wrong.
Yeah.
But still, like, we understood enough about the game to work out where those flaws on our part were.
Yeah.
Before the end. But at that point it was a bit too late to go back and change it. But yeah certainly... If we play another game soon enough, I think we will have a much easier job of just getting through the whole thing.
Yeah. We understood, like... It took playing a full game of Frostpunk to understand some of those ideas of, like... what things are a resource it is okay to spend, in the sense of, like, it's okay to let this thing go wrong a little bit to be getting on with something else. And which are the things that you have to... hold off being a problem as long as possible. What things do you prioritize early versus what is time...
Child labour, that's what we prioritise early.
Honestly, child labour really should have gotten into it sooner. Child labour absolute godsend. They're sat around doing nothing
Let
otherwise.
them pick up some sticks.
Look, we're not making the children do, like, terrible work. We're just saying trudge out in the snow and pick up some coal or some sticks.
Yeah, just put some coal in your pockets if you happen to be out playing snowballs.
Yeah, and, like, one of the cards implied they were teenagers anyways. So it's not like we're sending 4-year-olds out to go get the coal. It's probably, like, 14-year-olds. That's fine. Child labour was really effective, is what I'm saying.
Look, all I'm saying is child labour saved those children, because there was a point where we were looking practically at the situation of food and everything else and went, do we just let the children all die?
You say we. You.
I said it. Okay.
You tabled the idea of do we let the children die? Because you're right, we were having to provide
We were
them...
really struggling.
They required beds and they required food, and you were correct that letting them die would have meant, like, 1 in 3 rounds we wouldn't have had to feed anyone.
And to be fair, at the time it happened, the thought in my head was, these numbers bad. That makes these numbers bad. What if we just did a thing that got rid of those numbers so we don't have to deal with those numbers anymore?
Right, we were like 4 or 5 hours into playing this game and already we were abstracting human life into, well, get rid of those numbers and our numbers will look better.
Yeah. This is the problem with me playing board games, because very often I'm not feeling in the theme.
Yeah.
I'm min-maxing to try and not die.
I think it helped, because here's the thing, I agree with you, I do the same. There is something about the stage of having to say out loud.
Yes, that's what made me go, maybe we just put them to work.
I only didn't say it because I heard you say it and went, no, I don't like how that sounds. I don't like how that sounds. I'm going to vote against letting the children die because it's convenient. I will suggest something far more sensible, like putting the children to work. Against the wishes of their parents. Let kids
it's that typical thing of, I tested the water with something incredibly extreme and you made your putting children to work in the coal mine.
You shifted the Overton window quite severely, and I walked it back gently and said,
just a little bit of child labour.
You know, the parents said, let children be children, and I said, well, yeah, they can be children. Children with pockets full of coal they're conveniently collecting for us.
Yeah.
So
there much like this war of mine, Frostpunk really just goes, nothing's good is going to happen here. nothing good can happen. Do you want to crack down on the roaming gags of street children, or do you want to try and speak nicely to them?
I mean, you say that.
Make your decision.
You say that. We spoke to them nicely, and it went well.
But that was the choice we had ahead of us.
Yeah, we managed to make the nice option is there. Whether you have the resources to do it is a question. But,
well, that was also another
and
thing.
Whether there's consequences later for it.
The resources were definitely a thing a few times, and probably should have been slightly worse than they were. Like, towards the end, we'd explored almost all of the map, but we were really struggling to find wood.
Yes. And I feel like in other scenarios that might be more of a problem.
Yeah.
This was the sort of baby's first tutorial.
Well, yeah, this is like a softened version of Scenario 1, so this is like a Scenario 1/2.
Yeah.
Scenario 1 is originally designed in such a way that you have the
center, the generator
at one side of the map. And that means that you have to work much harder to heat things, because so much more of the map is outside of the heat range.
Yeah, so much less of it is in the nice 2 concentric circles nearest you.
Yeah, especially for the early, like, we'll just gather all the resources off of the side of the generator, and then we'll put tents around there, and they'll all be nice and snug and warm.
I see.
Technically, we lost by three food.
I'm gonna say it was a moral victory.
It was a moral, even though we put the children to work. It was a moral victory.
Yes. It was a. We learned a lot, and we were basically there. We basically did well enough.
I feel like we did well. We didn't build churches or fighting pits.
No, we didn't do that.
Okay.
The one of the only laws we did was child labour, and it worked out great. The kids even had full-size adult beds. What more could they have wanted?
They did. They were actually doing all right by the end.
Yeah. The other thing I've been playing, funny you mentioned playing Yakuza, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. I've been playing Yakuza Kiwami on stream this past
The new
week
one,
or
not
so.
the old one.
This is the Switch 2 port of Yakuza Kiwami, which is the remake of the first game in the series.
I get the impression, since mine is now listed as Legacy, that one is an improved version of the improved version of the original.
Maybe, I don't know.
Because it's got voice acting, right?
Yeah. Did the one you played not have voice acting? Okay, so this has Japanese...
Not English voice acting.
Oh, well, yeah. This has Japanese voice acting. It doesn't have English voice acting.
Okay.
Fun fact, I think I've worked out an interesting thing about the Yakuza series.
Ooh.
All of the modern Yakuzas have English voice acting. Yakuza 0, when it came to Switch 2, English voice acting. Kiwami 1 and 2 don't have English voice acting. Kiwami 3, that is coming soon, appears to have English voice acting. Yeah. And I was like, why not 1 and 2? Why have they skipped voice acting 1 and 2? I reckon it's a legal issue around the fact that before Kiwami 1 and 2 were Kiwami 1 and 2, they were just Yakuza 1 and 2. They had an English dub. There was there was an original English dub.
And they don't
want
to pay those actors.
And they don't want to pay those actors, and maybe they legally can't record a different English dub without paying the original English dub actors. Like, maybe the original English dub actors have a good contract that's like, if you recast us, we still have to get paid or something. Because it's the...
Pay the actors!
They can't... It's not as simple as just reuse the original English dub anyway, because they rewrote some of the script, like, quite a lot of the script when doing Kiwami. Yeah, but then they want to have consistency of English voice actors and have it all be the same voice actors in the new English dubs. It was Mark Hamill was Majima back in the day.
Oh, hell yeah.
If you go dig out the PS2 version of the original Yakuza, Mark Hamill is Majima, and honestly, I fucking love his Majima performance. Fun fact, he's been asked about it in interviews. He does not remember playing that character. He plays him as basically the Joker from when he did the animated Joker. And it's a great fit. But yeah, Yakuza Kiwami, this is the second, in the modern telling of it, it's the second Yakuza game, because 0 comes first. I honestly think Yakuza Kiwami works way better now that Yakuza 0 exists as a prequel to it, because a lot of the character relationships explored in Kiwami, the first, meeting Majima and having whatever relationship you have with him, the relationship between Kiryu and his sort of sworn brother in the Yakuza, Nishiki, these sort of come out of nowhere and don't really get a lot of fleshing out before suddenly you just sort of gotta take them at face value in Kiwami. Whereas playing Yakuza 0 first, you get to have a whole game of actually seeing Kiryu and Nishiki interact with each other. You get to play half of the game as Majima, so you have an idea of, like, what his whole deal is and why he's like this about Kiryu and what's going on behind this slightly jokified performance. Kiwami works so much better if you go Yakuza 0 into it. I've really appreciated, because originally when I tried playing the Kiryu games, I played Kiwami. And I didn't stick with it the first time. And playing 0 into Kiwami, you can feel like, 0 really kind of needed to exist. But I'm enjoying a lot about Kiwami. It definitely feels its age the most out of the early Yakuza games, but a lot of the early game of Kiwami is Kiryu looking after a small child. And
what is it with Yakuza and small children?
Right,
I have to look after a first child.
Kiryu really gets established very well in Kiwami 1 as, sure, he wants to be in the life of crime, it's the thing he aspires to, it's all he wants to do. All of the later games that go, Kiryu will fuck his life up repeatedly trying to protect orphans, Kiwami is where it establishes, like, okay, it's not just he was an orphan and he feels bad about orphans, it's this one particular orphan kind of broke his heart open and made him go, oh no, now I have emotional depth for every orphan on the planet, and I
must be the savior of the broken, the beaten, and the damned.
I will be the savior of the broken, the beaten, and the damned, exactly. Haruka, she's the kind of child character that makes even people that hate child characters in games go, actually, this one's pretty great. I can't hate this one. So yeah, I'm not super far into that, but despite being maybe 4 or 5 hours into that game, Kiryu has already 3 times so far walked into a room, someone is dead, he's now blamed for murder. We're less than 5 hours in, and it's his 3rd time opening a door and going, "Oh god, not again, not again." Once again, someone's gonna look in here and see just me and these dead bodies and go, "Looks like you killed them." And I'll go, "Well, I promise you I didn't. It's a coincidence that 3 times I've been the only person in a room with a dead body."
He's gonna be there with like a micro camera sliding it under the door, just checking the room. Okay, we can go in.
100%. The 3rd time it happens, it's less, "This is terrifying," and more, "Oh god, this is gonna be yet another news report about how I definitely murdered some guys." He's never murdered anyone.
Not
once and ever. So that's
I feel like the way Majima's punched a few people, they might be dead.
Majima might have killed a few people, but not Kiryu. Not Kiryu. But yeah, that's what I've been playing this week.
Have you played anything else?
No, nothing else.
Well, the only other thing I can think of is we played another day technically 2 days in Earthborn Rangers.
Oh, yeah.
So we talked about this previously. This is a card-driven campaign-style RPG adventure.
Go find quests, explore the world. Very open-ended adventure.
Very open-ended.
You find a quest, you decide whether to pursue it or hang around for a different one and go a different way.
Yeah.
What you gonna find?
You could just wander around the world at random, do whatever you want. But we have specifically gone out of our way to find people and do their quests. Yeah, it was interesting. We had our first fucked up a day. We had a companion character with us.
We had a very fragile man with us.
A very fragile man with us. And a big cat basically came out, took one swipe at him, murdered him, and immediately ended our day.
Yes. I think that is firmly established. If we have a fragile companion with us, and we have the opportunity to do some friendship rolls and maybe get the information, and then they can leave, that's worth doing before engaging. Or
at the very least, making the thing that we're trying to attack.
Oh, yes.
Exhausted so that it can't attack anyone.
Yeah, before trying to do connections with the creature, because if you draw the wrong symbols and they do an attack, we might be fucked. Yeah. So we did have one day that started and then very promptly ended.
Yeah, but at least it was early enough in the day that we didn't feel too bad about just going straight in and starting another day.
Yeah.
Where I nearly died. It's the first time I've taken, an injury.
Yeah.
And considering that your life is based on, hey, if you run out of deck, you're just going to have to end the day one way or another.
I eventually remembered I had a way to heal you.
Yeah. But, it wasn't too bad. We did pretty good. We got through the day, we got that person to where they were going. We drew out a big cat, and we did not murder that big cat.
No, we befriended a big cat.
We befriended the big cat.
Yeah.
Obviously trying to keep details very light, but I had heard someone sort of talk in very vague terms about this mission previously, and about how seemingly they'd done it in such a way that had taken longer, and meant that they were going back and forth through different areas. And for whatever reason, they had maybe needed the things that we'd been gathering, and not needed. And because they didn't have the things that they had been gathering, because they'd gathered them, that was causing them problems in other ways. And I thought it was interesting. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I think I know which mission this is.
Yeah, I think you described this one in advance of us playing.
And then we played it, but it happened very, very differently to that, because we just went, la 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 la, we're going to get you, and you, and you, and we're going to wander over here, and we're going to get you, and you, and we're going to wander over there.
There's some variance in how an open world mission can play out.
Indeed, but it's interesting because so little is written on the cards.
Yeah.
But so much, there was so much, we got to this area and we were like, okay, the whole thing is that this triggers when we move to a new area. That triggers when we go to the specific area that we're going to,
they're both going to line up at the same time.
They're both going to line up at the same time. Let's work out how we do this. Okay, that thing happens. Thank fuck, he's walked off, so he's not going to be, like, standing around near us.
The way it played out was a character was like, we've arrived. I'm so glad that this place is so safe and peaceful. As we're sat there going, we know exactly what the next thing that's going to trigger is.
Yeah.
And it's making your whole speech really funny. And again, that's emergent gameplay.
It's so peaceful here. The largest fucking lynx that you've ever seen appear. The lynx the size of a small house.
It's fine. You walk off and we'll go deal with the lynx so that you continue to think we found you a really peaceful location.
Yeah. And then we'll take the lynx away. Don't worry. Enjoy your fishing. Yeah.
It's a charming little game.
Yeah. And I had been maybe a little bit dubious about how much that would work. That sort of like, there isn't much on the cards, but you are, like, drawing from the situations. And obviously you've got the scenario book as well that is giving you some information specific to certain characters or certain places. But I thought it was just really funny the way that one worked out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Earthborn Ranger, still enjoying. That was the last of the perfect days for a while. Because the game takes place over a month. And the weather will change over the course of that month. And the first 3 days of the month are, the weather is perfect. Which is maybe a little too perfect in the mid-afternoon, because it gets way too hot and sunny and can cause annoyances. But, we're now moving, I think, into slightly potentially rainier weather. Ooh, stuff will happen.
Ooh.
Well then.
Time for this.
Our critically acclaimed series is ending after 5 seasons.
The fans are so hyped to see the conclusion. There's so much theory crafting going on.
But, I kinda sat on my ass for 5 years, and, how am I gonna bash out an ending? What do?
Well, I got some ideas.
Yeah, great, because I have not had an idea in months.
Neither have I, but, we go to the Reddit and we look at the theories and we grab a few of those and write those down.
I should have thought of that. I mentioned theory crafting earlier.
Yeah, let the fans do it. And then we just chuck that into an AI and go...
What about several AIs?
Yeah, get a couple of tabs open and we can pick and choose like which one makes the best answer. And be like, what if these write us an ending?
Yeah, what if it writes the most dismissive of female characters ending?
Yeah.
What if it completely ignores big plot points that had been happening leading up to this?
I put the stuff in the AI, and what the AI said was, what if the woman was simply a narrative device about the magic of childhood and was not a character with agency, and therefore we didn't have to give her an ending?
And I think our actors will be very satisfied by what we've come up with.
I'm sure they will love it. No one will have any problems with it.
You are a duffing genius.
I know.
Hey, Laura.
Yes?
We've got a new sponsor.
Who's our new sponsor?
Well, have you ever wanted to pass the time?
Yeah. Occasionally I've been, like, sat bored in a waiting room or something.
What if pause? Full pause.
Oh.
No experience of time.
Okay.
No more. No more time.
What, like, no more, like, full stop, or...?
Full stop time, and then resume later on, maybe if the technology develops at some point in the future.
Oh, I don't like that bit. I assumed you were pitching me, like, just, like, dissociate through a waiting room at the doctor's or something. What is this?
This week's sponsor is freezemeplease.lol.net.
Oh, okay, tell me more.
It's very pleasing in the mouth. Freeze me please.
Freeze me please.
It's a cryogenic suspension service, not aimed at waiting for cures for incurable illnesses, but, maybe, I guess.
I mean, that's...
Oh, no, they've told me not to say maybe, I guess. Yeah. So maybe not, I guess.
Well, I mean, that's always been the thing that's put me off cryogenics, is, like, there's no guarantee that they're ever gonna create whatever cures to diseases you need to get frozen for. So why are we getting frozen for this service?
Just to get through current era.
Okay, just, like, unthaw me when politics have improved a bit.
Yeah, hopefully unthaw you when politics improved a lot.
A thing that, unlike cures for illnesses, is guaranteed to happen. Eventually, the politics will be good. For certain.
It will.
Definitely. Definitely.
You heard it here first. Definitely. So, wait for that definitely moment. By not waiting for that moment, with freezemeplease.lol.net, enter the code Q&PS, fuck ice, and get 15% off freezing yourself until that thaws.
So long as politics doesn't ban the cryogenics process before getting to the good future, we'll be fine.
Hooray. So, what have you put in your eyes or ears?
Should we talk about a film that wasn't amazing?
No.
You had you considerably more dislike it. I had more fun with it, while still
I
thinking
wrote a 3 out of 10 review about it, and I haven't put it up yet.
I had a solid 6.5 out of 10 time with it. Okay, no, to be fair, I had like an 8 out of 10 time with a 6 out of 10 film. Like, it was that was fine. I had a good time. I had a good time with it. I'm never gonna tell anyone else to watch it.
No.
It's not a recommendable film, but if you happen to stumble into a cinema doing a secret screening and it happens to be this, I've had worse times with films.
If the one scene that I remember that made me laugh, there were 2 scenes that made me laugh. I remember. I know that I laughed twice. I only remember why I laughed one of those times. So clearly, it was that memorable.
Yeah.
This particular laugh. But if you ever get a point where like clips of this are appearing on YouTube, the car scene genuinely made me like. Ha.
So we should name this. This is the film Primate.
Yes, we went to see it as a mystery screening.
Yeah.
And it was getting quite a lot of hype because it seemed like all of the UK cinemas were doing a mystery screening on the same day at roughly the same time.
Of a horror film, and it seemed like it was going to be the same one, and it was like, this could be The Bone Temple, this could be Return to Silent Hill.
Ooh, that's what I was hoping
for. Primate.
It was Primate, a film I'd forgotten was even coming out.
It is a horror film about
a rabid chimpanzee.
Yeah, there's a family, they've raised a chimp, it speaks with an AAC, it gets rabies and starts trying to kill them all.
Okay, so, first things first, you mentioned that the chimp speaks with an AAC.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing at the beginning talking about the fact specifically that they taught the chimp sign language,
Yes.
that they taught the chimp ASL, and that the dad being like fully deaf
Yeah.
only speaks ASL.
Yeah.
And that his daughters speak ASL.
Yeah.
And there's like newsprints and things talking about how the chimp has learnt like its 3,000th words.
Yes.
And like that's really impressive. And then almost immediately they switch to an AAC.
Yes.
And why do they do that? So that later in the film there can be a scene where the chimp is sitting in the dark in a room, drooling and panting and going, death, 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 death. It's like,
you're not wrong. I will say a chimp fluently using an AAC is still impressive, but yes.
But like it.
Well, no, the ASL's still relevant so that they can bring it up like 2 other times when they want to use it for a mechanic.
They bring it up at the very end when Dad returns home after having been away for like the evening or like overnight. But like I thought, okay, this is another horror film, and recently I had seen another horror film with a deaf character in it, and I wondered if it was going to be there's going to be a moment where the protagonists are going to need to like move stealthily, and they're going to need to communicate, and they'll end up using sign language to communicate with each other so that they don't have to make any noise while they're talking. No, there's scenes where they're walking into rooms and just go, and they do the thing over there. Find the phone.
They used ASL once to do that, and then forgot that they could do that a lot of other times.
It felt like they got a message from the execs going, the sign language, it's subtitled as well, so you don't even have to know what they're saying. It's subtitled sign language, and then you just move from that, just go, but the AAC is so much more sinister.
Yeah.
Because it's robot voice saying, death, death, death.
Here's the thing about this film. It is at its heart a creature feature, like, the creature is out there, can you survive it? And I do think that there are some redeeming qualities to this film. I'm not going to say it's a great film or even necessarily a good film, but I do like that. So I'm going to get this out of the way first. This is not a creature with rabies. This chimp with rabies does not have rabies. Multiple times he is played as actively, knowingly sinister and evil, as opposed to rabies, which is, I'm attacking out of, like, basically instinct. No, he's sitting and planning and, like, giggling up in the rafters about how evil he's gonna be.
Death.
This is
Lucy
not...
bad.
This is
Lucy
not rabies.
bad.
But the conceit of the chimp having rabies does do some really interesting things for the film. I like that it creates the swimming pool as being this area that is... it is a zone of relative safety, not 100% safety, but, like, the characters are able to get a little bit of sleep on a pool float. Because it's like, yeah, you have a relative point of safety, but one of the characters gets bitten, and the problem with rabies is you are really on a running clock of probably 12 hours from now, medical care will not be able to stop your organs shutting down. So, like, oh, we've got a location we probably could wait this out, but an element that forces us not to wait this out. And I did think that was an interesting idea. I like, conceptually, if not for this one element, we could wait this out, and if a plan fails, we can retreat to the safe area, but we can't wait here forever.
The film has a lot of good ideas.
Yeah.
And it's got incredible VFX. I will give it that.
The lad in the upstairs bed is quite CGI. The CGI quite is.
It's, yeah. This is a film where someone went, the camera can't look away. The camera is having the lot of eco technique done. It may not look away. Oh, you think that character might survive? Oh, no. You will see their head pop like a coconut. If you think that having a jaw ripped off is going to be unpleasant, we're going to make you watch the skin rip.
That character that we both assumed was going to survive, and then they just...
You get 5 seconds to assume that character's going to survive, and then they just go, no, we are going to do a tracking shot, and then a slow motion moment... Like it's fucking Sniper Elite.
Yes.
It was just short an X-ray shot of this man's skull collapsing.
They left it just long enough to go, oh, that happened off screen. He's gonna be fine.
He'll
He's
be
gonna
back
come back in
later.
at 3.
He'll save the day, maybe.
No.
Don't you dare.
Fuck you for thinking that. The foreshadowing is incredibly ham-fisted.
It's so ham-fisted, and there's the point I ended up doing a whole thing about, because I thought about it as I was writing it. Obviously, like I was getting more into it. Like, why do I think this? Okay, expand on that. And one of the things I thought about was like Final Destination Bloodlines.
Yeah.
Like I haven't seen the film, but I've seen the trailers.
Yeah,
and there is similarly a piece of glass sticking up in an outdoor area in the trailer. They largely show that throughout that I need to say Hellraiser Bloodlines, very different film. Final Destination Bloodlines, there is a scene where a whole bunch of people are out in a back garden.
Yep.
And there's grilling and there's like this shard of glass. And this shard of glass goes on a little journey.
Oh yeah, having seen the film, there's like 7 or 8 different fake outs of... Like, Schrodinger's piece of glass is ultimately going to be what kills someone, but is it going to be because it's in that glass of, like, icy lemonade and you can't see that it's glass and not ice? Is it going to be run over by the lawnmower? Is it going to be someone on the trampoline breaks through the trampoline and lands on it? Is it going to get accidentally, like, knocked into someone's face? And it keeps... It
shows you the thing. It tells you, this is the meta weapon, it's going to happen. But it makes it way more interesting than what we did here is we dwelled on this piece of prop just long enough that the audience have it lodged in them. Do you get it? Do you know that you've seen the piece of glass? Okay, cool.
The big piece of upright glass at roughly where someone, in a very foot-trafficked area where they're going to have to walk that's stood up. Oh, they almost stepped on it. Did you see it?
Did you see it? What concerns me more about that is that there is glass fucking everywhere.
Yes.
And... until someone steps on that one upright piece of glass, sorry, spoilers, nobody so much as winces when they are walking over all the other glass that's smaller than that one piece of glass. And coming off of having recently watched Die Hard, where a man is basically bleeding out through his feet towards the end because he's walked across so much broken glass with no shoes on. The whole thing was take your shoes off, scrunch your toes, you'll feel better.
See, here's the thing. I agree with all of the things that annoy you about that film. I found them funny rather than annoying, and I can't quantify why. I enjoyed watching it from the perspective of, this film has some interesting ideas, but it sure is exactly the feeling of going on a roller coaster and the story you get on a roller coaster. It made me think about going on Saw the ride at Thorpe Park, where I'm like, oh, there's Jigsaw. He says, I'm going to be dead in 60 seconds, but I know it's going to be fine. Oh, we went upside down and just saw a dead body and water sprayed. That was almost like blood. Oh, it feels like you're going on this very curated ride past the scary things that don't really impact you in any kind of tangible way. I went on a thrill ride. I saw, it hit its beats well. It was paced well. It was completely devoid of substance, but I had a good laugh at the MacGuffin of glass that was so incredibly obvious and that they did nothing interesting.
We spent so little time with most of the characters that I only remembered Kate's name.
Yeah. The chimp was Ben.
The chimp was Ben. In my review, I name drop Ben and Kate and everyone else's dad, a friend of friend, and hot boy neighbour.
Yeah, could I tell you the little sister's name? Couldn't tell you.
She's a little sister.
Yeah. Could I tell you the name of the guy that was meant to go give the chimp, visit the chimp in the cage?
The vet. He's the vet.
He's the vet. His name was mentioned a dozen times.
Was it?
Yeah, because they were going to call him to find out what happened.
And they did call him,
raccoon.
And then they could hear his phone.
Yeah, they talked about him a bunch of times. I don't remember his fucking name.
No.
None of them were important characters.
No. So much so that I accidentally forgot and called her Lucy earlier.
When the dad comes back, I thought they were going to do something cool by leaning into, a 5-minute sequence where there was no audio.
It was really, tense. Because they did a really interesting thing of, cutting all of the audio during his perspective scenes.
Yeah. And we know there's a dangerous animal. He does not know.
And you see it in the background a couple of times in the dark. There's quite an interesting moment where he's coming home and he's banging on the walls, trying to make sounds to get the girls to come to him.
Yeah.
Because he assumes they're upstairs asleep or something. And he's just letting them know that he's home. And in the background you can see Ben in the shadows. And then Kate comes around the corner and starts shouting at Ben to try and get him to chase her away from Dad.
I wanted to fully see Ben dragging Kate off, and she's begging for help, and Dad can't is unaware of it. I wanted that to be a whole thing, and they back out of that idea way too soon.
Yeah,
it's again. I enjoyed it from the perspective of this film has a lot of really interesting ideas that even if not properly executed on, I've had way worse times at films where there was, the fact that there was at least stuff I could go, that was an interesting idea, that even if you cowered it out and didn't do it, I at least could think about that.
My final conclusion regarding Dad and the weirdness around ASL in this film was, if nothing else, by not having made it a plot point of the survival of the characters to use ASL during a panicked moment, they just normalised having a deaf character.
Yeah.
And that's not a whole big thing. 10 out of 10, well done.
Yeah.
Good.
I didn't find it boring. I can appreciate a not good film. I can have a good time with a not good film, as long as it doesn't do the sin of being boring or having no ideas of its own. This at least had ideas, even if it squandered them.
Even if it spends most of its time going, there's 5 people on a raft in the middle of a pool. They're going to get out of the pool and try and find one of many mobile phones around the house.
Yep.
And then they're going to go back in the pool, and then somebody else is going to go, you know what, there's a mobile phone. I'm going to go and get that mobile phone.
The film is 4 fetch quests back to back of, can I reach a phone and get back here?
I feel like you could have made a really interesting Saw movie where they're all stuck in the pool. And then, trying to work out, maybe having some discussion about humanity and their humanity and what this all means and what to. And occasionally, like, they're all falling asleep and getting too close to the edge, and that's when Ben gets them. Ooh. But the writers didn't want to do that. They didn't want to have that tight, gritty movie.
Yeah. So that's Primate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weirdly though, like we looked at the Rotten Tomatoes reviews and it's doing quite well. I think it was like 77% audience score.
Even the people who've reviewed it positively largely say the same things we do.
It's a stupid film, turn your brain off.
The people who've reviewed it well have fallen in my sort of camp of, I had a fun time with this bad film.
Very few fallen into my camp of, I felt patronised by the film, and that if certain things had been taken out or slightly differently timed, then I think I would have had a much more interesting time. If it hadn't had that, like, title card at the beginning explaining rabies, I think that I wouldn't have felt as patronised by other things in the film.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about the fact that they show you a scene at the start of the film that would have made much more sense to show when it happens in the film, just because they were too afraid of not showing you violence quick enough.
You have to have violence in the first 2 minutes. Man has to have his face pulled off in the first 2 minutes. Immediately after a title card explaining that rabies, in some cases, certain types of rabies, if it's this type of rabies, 80% of people will develop an aversion to water. What form does that take? Well, even trying to drink a glass of water will make their throat painfully close up.
Yeah.
And can then induce more rage in them.
Yes.
The raging type. 28 days later.
So I watched a film.
Yay!
I watched a film this week. I watched a fascinating film.
Yay!
I watched a film called Marty Supreme.
With Timothy Chalamet.
This is Timothy Chalamet stars in a film that on the surface, and this is the way it's presented, it's presented as essentially a live-action sports anime about a man who is good at table tennis.
Very good at table tennis.
Doing anime-level table tennis, but in live action.
Staying in high-end hotels and ringing up Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah, and I would say maybe the first 20 to 25% of the film and the last 5 to 10% of the film are Timothy Chalamet's adventures in elaborate table tennis. Maybe 60-70% in the middle of this film is one man makes a life mistake and makes considerably bigger life mistakes to try and dig himself out of that hole, and then even bigger mistakes trying to dig himself out of that hole.
It's very difficult to dig yourself out of a hole when all you've got is a little paddle.
Yeah. It's, how many ways can you get for one person to do something stupid, try and do something stupid to fix the problem, try and do something stupid to fix that problem, try and do something stupid to fix that problem? It's a Rube Goldberg machine of a man making the worst possible heterosexual decisions at every possible corner to try and...
Simply stop making heterosexual decisions.
Right, to try and...
gayer decisions.
To try and corner cut his way back to his dream.
Of being on a Wheaties box.
Yeah, it is a fascinating train wreck that is not the film it was presented as, that I had a good time with, but that I was largely sat just watching, going, I don't know what film I walked into, apparently. I thought I had a sense of what film I'd walked into, and then, we're an hour plus in, and Timothy Chalamet is getting spanked with a table tennis paddle on his bare ass by a room full of businessmen to try and get them to bring them on their private jet to fly him to Japan in a sort of humiliation ritual. And I'm like, when you said he was getting spanked, because you initially told me that he got spanked with a table tennis paddle, you hadn't told me that it was by businessmen. I'd assumed it was Gwyneth Paltrow. No. Like, mild spoilers. He's trying to get to Japan for the table tennis championships, and he had an opportunity to just, make a very reasonable business deal with a person to get a flight to Japan, and he said no, and now that businessman will only allow me to spank you over my knee with the table tennis paddle while my rich businessman friends watch. And there's a point around then where I was like, this is not the sports anime I thought I was here for.
This is someone's kink.
This is a man puts himself through a humiliation kink over and over and over, thinking it will lead to his own fame.
Simply kink your way to the top.
Yeah. He's a terrible man. I don't know why women in this film put up with his terribleness.
Because they were written by men.
Yes. It is.
I would guess. I don't know.
It really does feel like women who only like the terrible man because they're written to like the terrible man by a man. I had a pretty good time with Marty Supreme. I know it sounds baffling, and I had a decent time, but just set your expectations right for...
It's not as anime as you'd hoped.
It's very anime during the portions when it's sports anime, and then a lot of it is just one man humiliating himself, like thinking his next get rich quick scheme will pan out, and it doesn't, and then doubling back on himself in embarrassing ways.
Marty Supreme, everyone.
Marty
Available
Supreme.
now.
What about you? What are you putting your eyes or ears this week?
I watched a video on a YouTube channel called Drew's Campfire called How to Find Order in Chaos with 4 million double pendulums.
Oh, this.
Look how pretty it is.
It's very pretty.
So this is like the time I watched the fucking documentary about turning a sphere inside out without breaking it mathematically. About if you set a double pendulum off at every possible variation of where a double pendulum can be positioned, and then use computers to sort of simulate what that looks like if they're all done in some sort of increment. Working out, watching how... Firstly, I was initially entertained by, like, just the first premise was like, well, let's take 10 of these things. Yeah. Let's take 10 of these double pendulums. We're going to say that they are, the bars are of no weight, that the weights themselves are 1 kilogram, and that there is no air pressure or friction. There is simply gravity affecting these things. It's like, okay, cool, I'm with you on the premise, and you've made them colourful, so I'm loving that too. And they're like, okay, if we set these off at slightly different times, how long do you think it will be before they go out of sync? And I was like, I've seen double pendulums before. I don't think it's going to take that long at all to go kind of wrong. And I was surprised that at least these initial ones stuck together quite well for a good 2 or 3 full swings. That's more than I'd expected. But when they go wrong, all the chaos. All of a sudden, complete fucking chaos. And then watching this timeline extend and extend and extend, and doing smaller and smaller increments, and going, hey, you see that patch in the middle that's just not perfectly in sync, but it is moving like a wave, so there is like a sense of beauty and calm, surrounded by just absolute bollocks chaos in the most wonderful way. And then looking at the simulation from above of, okay, we're going to show this as a grid of, I can't remember exactly how many it was, but a lot of fucking pendulums on this grid, and going, now if we turn each one of those into a pixel of colour, representing where on the position they started. So if they started on like a full spectrum rainbow, then what does that look like in motion, representing the position that they then move to, if we treat that as animation swapping along this spectrum, and then just going, watching the whole pattern, and then explaining, like, so the reason we saw this initially of, like, chaos on one end and chaos on the other end and sort of a calm flow in the middle is because we were here on this cross-section, sort of almost like fractal type stuff. Just going, here is this moment of calm, and here are all the things happening around it and why it looks like that. And then, instead of going, here is like a rainbow design, here is just images, plain images. Here's like a checkerboard. Here's a picture of a cat. The picture of a cat is really fucking unsettling because it looks like they turned the cat inside out. No. And then slowly swirl through the pattern. Occasionally the cat sort of comes back. But yeah, it's it's a fantastic way of representing that mathematical puzzle. Occasionally YouTube serves me weird mathematical thought puzzles.
Yeah.
Like turning a sphere inside out. Yeah. I had a good time watching the pretty things go swingy back forward and not really understanding the maths behind it, but going, that was really interesting.
Sometimes it's nice to learn a numbers thing, like when I learned about how the 16 digits in a Sudoku in the four corners, in the 2x2 in each of the four corners, are the same 16 digits that appear in the 16-digit ring around the centre 3x3.
Yes.
I'm like, didn't initially understand why that was the case, but I was like, that's the case?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Numbers. Science and maths.
Simon taught you that one.
Yeah, well, he taught me why that worked.
Yeah.
I was like, I understand it now, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to know if there's more of those.
I'm sure there
He
probably
seems to
is.
know all of them.
But
I've watched him solve things that shouldn't be solvable.
that one's not useful a lot of the time, but occasionally it's useful.
There have been a couple of times where we were like ground to a halt in other ways, and that has come to save the day, or at least sort of helped us narrow down enough.
Yeah.
Because usually by the time we've got anywhere near that being the case,
Yeah.
we're very close to the end. It's just like it's usually fucking like hidden pairs, because I'm terrible at spotting hidden pairs, or something like that. Especially when it's like a hidden pair in a block rather than a hidden pair in a row or column, because my brain just doesn't automatically look for that shit. But yeah, like it helps a couple of times to just go, I've shaken you loose, fuck you, puzzle. Yeah. What else? Have you watched or listened to anything else?
No, that's about it for me. Most of
You listened to a bunch of MCR.
I did.
And that's an excuse for other people to go and watch your 30-minute documentary.
Yeah,
about MCR.
go check out my 30-minute video up on YouTube about the journey that led to MCR's scrapped 5th album, and the reason that we know for a fact that there are 10 unreleased tracks from that album floating around in private collector hands. So it's an interesting journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's everything I watched and listened to this week.
Well then.
Time for this.
Inside the boardroom of Supremacy Software.
Hi. I'm in trouble.
Again?
Yeah, I apparently I fucked up.
I mean, the way you're approaching this doesn't say solemn JPEG to me. This says a series of high-priced lawyers and maybe even the golden parachute.
Well,
am I going to be running this place alone?
No, we'll work it out, but I don't think what I did was even that bad.
Right.
So, no one asked me to do this.
Right.
But, maybe there's a social media site that has been in some hot water recently because their AI lets you take the clothes off of women.
Right.
A thing that's really fun to do because then you get to see a woman with no clothes on.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely, for reals, in real life without paying for it, have definitely taken the clothes off of real life for reals.
Right,
woman.
exactly. But it's also, this isn't. I'm definitely not doing this because I can't see a real woman naked.
Definitely
but
not. No. You could see a naked woman anytime you want.
Yeah, and I don't. If my thought was if I, look up one of our employees, on social media.
Or even, maybe just get their employee photographs.
Well, that's what I mean. And then, get the AI to do the thing.
Yeah.
I don't have to, get in trouble for asking them to take their clothes off, because that's apparently an HR violation.
HR have got to be way happier about you using AI to remove a coworker's clothes.
Exactly, right.
Than the last time you removed a coworker's clothes.
Exactly. So, so far, I've done nothing wrong, right?
Nothing wrong, as far as I can see. No one's been hurt, right?
Yeah, so, without...
I mean, you didn't really do it, so it didn't really happen.
So, without being prompted, I may have, made a statement online where I said, I don't think it's a big deal that AI can digitally take a woman's clothes off without her having to give permission first.
Well, why would she need permission? Because you're not doing it to her.
No, exactly.
We've already established that as the case.
Right, exactly, but apparently people are really, 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 really pissed off about it.
Right.
So, I've been working on what I think is a comeback, and I want to get your feedback.
Right.
Do you think this works?
Right.
My comeback that I want to post is, I don't see the big issue. It's like when our players mod our games. We let our players mod our games.
Yeah.
We let them take our game
Yeah.
and change it in ways that we didn't, consent to, but that, like,
Remember when we made that beach volleyball section in prehistoric warfare? There was that whole scene of volleyball on the beach, and we had all the scantily clad female characters. Remember, the first thing they modded was removing the clothes of all the female characters.
Exactly, we couldn't do that, but the modders could, and that was great.
Yeah.
And like, the players love mods. How is what I did any different?
Right. You're just, you learn it from them.
Yeah, exactly. If anything, it's the player's fault.
Yeah. You are in legal hot water.
I know.
Do you struggle with boring tasks?
Yeah.
Do you wish there was some way that you could get really passionate about cleaning, dusting, doing the dishes and more?
Yeah.
Try Nostalgia Injection. We'll make your brain think that you miss and long for studying, or feel a deep longing for a time when you were dusting.
Oh, back in the day.
Back in the day.
Oh, fond memories.
Nostalgia Injection. Ah. You know what? I should take up doing the dishes again.
Oh, that really was the best of times.
The best of times. Do you know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Brochure Justice Warriors.
Brochure Justice Warriors?
Yeah.
All right, Larry.
All right, Mary. How you doing?
Oh, better, actually. I'll be honest. Health-wise, physical health-wise, much better.
Good caveats there.
I took a... This is the problem with interoception, you see. I was like, you know what? I'm not feeling as shit as I did last week. This has got to be an improvement. And then I remembered the world.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. How you doing, mate?
I mean, as equally all right in body. I did start the week with oops, I saw a video of a person getting murdered.
Yes.
I think that I think I'm going to have to just go to, by default, putting my social media on do not autoplay videos.
Yeah. I mean, I am very glad that the people in charge had no way of repressing that footage.
Yes.
I understand why someone felt the need to put it up there uncensored, unedited.
It is very important that it be available
so
in
that
lots of
people
hands.
should be held accountable.
I did not need to be jump scared by
No.
watching the end of a person's life.
No, indeed.
As is sometimes the way, but
Indeed,
this everything that's been going on recently with ICE in Minneapolis and
yes, and the subsequent
shooting a woman multiple times in the face and then claiming self-defense despite the fact she was trying to drive away at slow speeds, clearly not being a threat.
Yeah.
But, oh no, she had pronouns in her online bio, so actually we murdered a dangerous left-wing terrorist or whatever.
Yeah, and why do the press keep showing pictures of her from years ago where she had long hair and was more traditionally beautiful, and when this is what she looked like at the end of her life because she was a lesbian, and that she looked more like what we consider to be lesbonic or whatever.
Yeah. The thing that I saw that really got in my head, where I was like, how anyone can see this person as having been a threat that required murdering, was the front the glove compartment of the car she was driving full of stuffed animals. Like, blood on stuffed animals, because she, this is not someone who was here as a threat coming to kill and murder police. This was someone who
was dropping off her kid.
Her wife maybe mouthed off a little bit at some ICE officers. Deservedly, ICE were being fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
And then went, okay, you're getting a bit antsy, I will leave. That is not a death penalty, or that should not be a death penalty action.
No, it's, I am glad that this has stirred people up into action, but I can't help feeling the number of people who have had similar situations of existing while black, and that the reason for this outcry is that it happened to a white woman at last.
It did happen to a cis white woman, and the outrage is definitely. I'm glad the outrage is there.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It does suck that it took. It happened to a cis white woman for it to for it to kick off.
Yeah, you feel like there's probably some sort of conversation between the police and ICE at this point going, what did you do? You know the rules, we only kill the black ones.
We only kill the ones that they won't care that we kill.
Yeah, because they're fucking monsters. And, I am glad that there is outrage. I hope that continues. I hope that there is some momentum behind that and something actually happens.
Some continued energy that sticks with it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we're also hearing stories about how ICE are getting frustrated with people who aren't scared enough of them. Clearly, these people are just bullies. We had the pastor who had a gun pointed in his face and was eventually released because you're white, it's not as much fun. We had a person who was repeatedly threatened, and they kept coming back and saying, are you scared? Are you scared yet? Are you scared now?
Yeah.
And this person basically just laughing at them and saying no. And that could have ended badly as well, but it seems like really what these people are on is a massive fucking power kick.
Yeah,
this is what happens when you give incels guns.
Yeah, do you want the perceived power and authority and ability to wield a gun with a mandate that comes with the police, but without having to do any of that pesky training about de-escalation and all that sort of pathetic stuff? That's
not that it does, the US police any good.
It's. Do you want to get the quick route into that kind of perceived power and authority with less oversight and less of a waiting and training process to get it?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Depends how, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh. Good luck, mate. Good luck. Right, I am off to have a little lie down.
Oh, sounds lovely.
Nice. So, what can you place on the internet that people can find? Where that?
I can place things on the internet. Laura K. Buzz. Find the stuff what I do.
Yeah.
Patreon. That's the one that pays the bills. As little as $1 a month lets me keep doing all the stuff I do. Go check out the video I did about MCR's The Paper Kingdom album. I just sort of autistic info dump about that for half an hour. Go learn as I excitedly enthuse about it. Go check out the newest accessibility that'll be up this week about the British Sign Language Gaming Glossary, in which you can see me attempting to learn some game developer and console-specific BSL signs. There's a bunch of other stuff. Laura K. Buzz, you'll find all the things I'm up to.
All the things.
Yeah. What about you, Jane? Where are you out on the internet?
Patreon.com/StoneMonkeyRadio. As little as $1 a month. You can help me justify doing all the things. Keep an eye out. I've had some ideas about things I want to do soon. Ooh. I'm not going to be too specific because I'm not always great at achieving the things I set out to do. But I have good intentions.
Yeah.
And the good kind that don't actually hurt anyone. That would be good to do. I could do that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it for me. You can also find me on Humans Holler at News, a podcast for me's and for you's. We are recording a new episode of that on Sunday. And by the time this episode goes up, I believe for anyone, I will be older. So feel free to say nice things about me in the comments if you want. You don't have to. I'm being silly. But also, I'll be older next time. I'll be decrepit by the time you hear me again.
Ooh.
Yes, I'll be having my own sherries by then. Yes.
Oh, goodness.
Lovely. Well, Laura, would you sing us out, please, darling?
Until next time, be a stranger.
Yes.